We are officially 1/4 through the 2025 NFL season, and there are a lot of lessons to be learned. The Philadelphia Eagles offense has been struggling, mostly due to play calling. The San Francisco 49ers have looked great despite all their injuries, but if there's one lesson that I think is the biggest storyline of the season so far, is how wide open the AFC is, that anyone can make the playoffs and potentially make a run to the Super Bowl. Before the season, we all had our playoff picks. There were some easy ones like Kansas City, Baltimore, and Buffalo, but we all have our hot takes like I did, saying the Jags will win the AFC South, but nobody expected the standings to look like this. Baltimore at 1-4 and facing the most injuries in the league. Indianapolis has the 1 seed and Indiana Jones being an MVP candidate. Kansas City barely scraping by at 2-3. The Steelers being 3-1 atop the AFC North. Patriots at 3-2 and the Jags at 4-1. Before we get into the teams that could make the playoffs, let's eliminate some. The New York Jets, Tennessee Titans, Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns, and Las Vegas Raiders. Baltimore's getting there. If they fall to 1-5, I will officially eliminate them in my mind. And their next game is against the LA Rams, so it's very possible. Cincinnati's also 99% eliminated in my mind, but they just traded for Joe Flacco after Jake Browning looked like the worst quarterback in the league, and Joe Flacco was second worst. Surprisingly, to be honest, I was shocked that Jake Browning looks this bad because he was solid a couple years ago. Including Baltimore, though, here are the teams still in playoff contention in at least some way. Buffalo, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, New England, the Chargers, Denver, Houston, and Kansas City. That's 10 teams right there that have a chance to make the playoffs, and all have great cases for the most part to be a playoff team. Let's start in the East with Buffalo and New England. They just had a great Sunday Night Football matchup where Drake May and the defense led his team to victory. New England has a very strong case to be a playoff team. I'm not saying that because I'm a fan, because they have the easiest schedule in the league. Next 3 games are at New Orleans, at Tennessee, at home versus Cleveland. That means probably a 6-2 start, with multiple winnable games after that. The Falcons, who got blown out by the Panthers, a team the Patriots blew out. The Jets twice. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow won't be back during that time. The New York Giants, and the Miami Dolphins. There truly are only 3 games against teams I'd say are better. Buffalo, Baltimore if they're healthy, and Tampa Bay. 10-12 wins is in the cards, but will it happen? Depends if this team can stay consistent, which we have not seen to start the year. New England's defense has been elite against the run, not allowing a running back to rush for 50 or more yards, and they're 4th in rush EPA. Milton Williams, Barmore, and the front 7 are dominating teams, but the issue has been the secondary. However, against Buffalo and Gonzo's second game back, they look good. Mike Vrabel is coaching this team well, and they could sneak in as a 6 or 7 seed on the backs of Drake May in this defense. They do need Diggs to keep playing like he has the past 2 weeks due to lack of separation from other receivers, but Drake has been throwing them open a lot of times. Truly a solid team. But Buffalo's obviously a lock. However, their defense doesn't scare me, but it's mildly worrisome come January. 18th in EPA per play, they can't stop the run to save their lives, 31st in yards per carry, 29th in rushing yards, and have allowed the 4th most touchdowns on the ground. They do have an elite pass rush though, led by Joey Bosa with a resurgence in Buffalo. If a team gets a positive game script against them, it could get scary for Buffalo, but Ed Oliver has missed time. I expect him to come back and help this issue, not fix it entirely, but definitely be a big helping hand. And Josh Allen's Josh Allen. Any team led by him has a chance to win a Super Bowl, and it's simple as that. Alongside James Cook and Dalton Kincaid, who has had a great year, Khalil Shakir's been kind of disappointing. The offenses look great, and I don't expect that to change. They're a playoff lock. Now, real quick, if you want to place some money on Drake May higher than his passing yards or rushing yards, same goes with Josh Allen, there's no better place to do it than on Underdog, because Underdog is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. All you have to do is pick higher or lower on 2-day players' projections, and you can up to 1,000 times your money. Even better, when you sign up with code Fanatics, not only do you get a free pick, when you play $5, you get $100 in bonus funds instantly. Again, that is code Fanatics for $100 in bonus funds and a free pick when you play $5. The AFC South is a doozy. I've had the Jaguars win the South since June, and everything I said about the Texans has come to fruition. But the Colts have come out of nowhere to lead the division so far. Now, I've been high on Steichen since he was hired, but I did not expect him to have Daniel Jones playing at a top 10 level, the play-action offense off of Jonathan Taylor playing like the best running back in the league. It's a perfect system for Jones to be in. Makes the reads easy for him, and he can see the field great. I've already done a video on Jones, so check that out if you want to see what I like about him in Indy. They also have one of the best defenses in the league, surprisingly. They're 4th in EPA per play, 5th in points allowed, top 10 in sacks, and 5th in turnovers. This team is clearly more complete than we thought, which they never had a bad roster. It was always quarterback questions, but those have been answered. Indy is a playoff lock to me. As for Jacksonville, wow, what a gritty win over Kansas City Monday night, led by Trevor Lawrence being himself and the defense. Devin Lloyd is playing himself into Defensive Player of the Year conversations next to Aiden Hutchinson and Nick Bonito. Who would have thought that the Jaguars would have a top 3 defense in the league and their offense would struggle? Not me. I did say that I believed their defense would see improvements with the new defensive coordinator, but I did not expect this. 4-1 should be 5-0 to start the year with an easy schedule down the stretch. They already sneaked one win that I did not have for them in this Monday Night Football game. They have 5 games I see as definite wins against Arizona, 2 games against Tennessee, the New York Jets, and the Raiders. All of those teams are turnover prone, and this defense has forced the most turnovers in the league. The pass rush duo of Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker has been great, with a combined 40 pressures between the two, and both being top 20 in run defense grade, Trayvon being 4th and Hines-Allen being 16th. Jordan Lewis, Eric Murray in the secondary are playing well, and outside of the most recent game, the run game has been great with Travis Etienne and Bashal Tuin. I think Jacksonville is a playoff lock, and I know they had that one collapse a couple years ago, but it seems a little different this time. Their only issue is Trevor Lawrence, who sometimes goes out there and looks like a rookie, other times fights his way to looking great even through his mishaps. It could be one great play, one bad play, and then another great play, but it works. If they could figure out this whole Brian Thomas Jr. not playing as well as last year and get Travis Hunter more involved in the passing game, this is an offense that can explode on any given Sunday. I mean, they have the play caller in Liam Cohen and the playmakers on that side of the ball. It can happen. They have the easiest remaining schedule of the 3 AFC South contenders. I'd give them the division. Houston, I honestly don't know. Top tier defense, but their offense is lackadaisical. Outside of Week 5 against a Ravens team that was missing many All-Pro and Pro Bowl caliber players on both sides of the ball, they've been a bottom 5 unit. They can't run the ball, and CJ Stroud does not have time to get the ball downfield to Nico Collins. I don't know if I can trust this offense to lead them to a lot of wins. After starting out 0-3 with their only 2 wins coming against a horrible team in Tennessee and the most injured team in the NFL with the Ravens, I've been impressed with anything this Houston offense has done. They're entering their bye week right now, then immediately head to Seattle, play San Fran, Denver, and Jacksonville at home. 2-2 is best case scenario there, in my opinion. All 4 of those teams have looked great. Shout out to the 49ers for being 4-1 despite all the injuries they've suffered. I don't feel great about Houston this year. They need to figure out this offensive line, and I don't like Nick Haley all that much as a play caller either. Houston can make the playoffs, but I wouldn't see them as a contender. But as of now, I'm having them on the outside. The North is weird as well. The Steelers are frauds, but will win the division by default. The Ravens, although they have a chance to make the playoffs, truly don't. A 1-4 start is bad, and like I said, if they lose next week, I'm officially putting them in the irrelevant category of the AFC teams. And since 2000, only 2 teams have started 1-5 and made the playoffs, 2018 Colts and 2015 Chiefs. Now they're officially not 1-5, so if we change that to 1-4, only 4 teams have, adding on the 2011 Broncos and 2002 Titans. It's a hard path for the Ravens, but they have some easy games. If they can get back to full health after the Week 7 bye, a lot more winnable games. Their season truly depends on Week 6 at home versus the Rams, and if they can get healthy. As for Cincy, they're basically done. Joe Flacco's the QB1, I don't think that changes much. Horrible defense, bad coaching, and bad quarterback play is a recipe for disaster. I know I said they aren't officially eliminated yet, but they're just as close, if not more close to Baltimore in that regard. Pittsburgh is just something else. They're going to win this division because there's no one else that can, but I'm not confident in this team at all. Aaron Rodgers is the 37th ranked quarterback in the league on PFF, 16th in EPA per play, and 25th in dropback success rate. It's an average offense carried by DK Metcalf and Jalen Warren, who have both been exceptional to start the year, and the defense is not as advertised. TJ Watt has lost a step. They've had a few guys step up, but overall it's a below average unit that is bottom 10 in yards per play allowed and allowing the 3rd most passing yards per game to opposing teams. They have not had one impressive win on their schedule either, and no game where their defense carried them. Look, Minnesota had Carson Wentz. New England shot themselves in the foot, but I will give credit to the defensive linemen and linebackers forcing those fumbles, and the 0-5 Jets kept it close the entire game. This division's a crapshoot right now, but somebody has to win it, and it will be Pittsburgh. The AFC West is where things get interesting. The Chiefs can't run the ball, with Patrick Mahomes being their leading rusher on the season. Xavier Worthy's only played in 2 games. Rashee Rice isn't back yet. Travis Kelce's lost a step. The only true reliable weapon on the season has been Tyquan Thornton with the league-leading 20.9 yards per catch and ADOT of 25 yards. Maybe once Rashee Rice comes back, the offense can just become one of the best passing offenses in the league. I mean, Mahomes is the guy under center, but with the inability to run the ball at all, Pacheco and Hunt have been terrible. It seems difficult. This is a team that was 10-0 in one-score games last season and is now 0-3 in one-score games this year. We saw something similar with the Vikings a few years ago where they were basically defeated in one-score games and the next season almost went undefeated in one-score games. It's not a great recipe for success when you're only winning games by 1 score. It's not something you can rely on heading into the next year. The run defense has also been near the bottom of the league as well. Basically, the trenches of this team are bad now for the first time in a while. They're 31st in rush EPA while allowing the 12th most yards per game and 6th most yards per carry. Look, they'll make the playoffs by default in a tight division, but they're not the same old Chiefs to be scared of anymore. We saw what happened when they went against an elite defense last Super Bowl in the Eagles. I am scared for them if they have to play one of these elite AFC defenses in the playoffs. They've been letting teams drive down the field for game-winning drives or control the time possession battle, something this fan base is not used to. But that is the case right now, and I don't see it changing much. The Chargers, though, they might be done. 2-game losing streak to the Giants and Commanders, injuries all across the board. Hampton's out for at least 4 weeks after being put on IR. Tackle Rashawn Slater's done for the year. Joe Alt most likely out for another couple weeks. And Khalil Mack's on IR with that gruesome injury. With a not great offensive line due to injuries, they're starting running back out for a month and one of their best defensive players out for a while. Who knows what will happen? Justin Herbert is the type of talent that can lead them to the playoffs, but I don't see it in this division with the Broncos and Chiefs. They have a tough schedule as well, having to play teams like the Jaguars, Colts, Chiefs, and Broncos again. Eagles, Dallas is a tough game, and the Texans defense. I'm not sure what to expect out of this team. I think I might be out on them after all that they have suffered. I was really high on them the first couple weeks, but all these injuries just keep piling up. It's hard to stay on them. And lastly, we have the Denver Broncos with a statement comeback win over the Eagles in Philly. They've had a tough 3 games to start the year against the Colts, Chargers, and Eagles. They only went 1-2 in those games, but they kept the losses close to a combined 4 points. Bo Nix has been inconsistent to say the least. In that Philly game alone, he had a bad 3 quarters, but a perfect 4th quarter, which was helped by the Eagles' offense not even trying to control the time possession battle. They have an easy next 2 games against both teams from East Rutherford at home, the Raiders twice, and winnable games against the Cowboys, Texans, and their other division rivals. Those are hard games against Dallas and the Texans due to an elite offense and elite defense, but the Broncos have the talent to overcome that, and they're healthy. They're not a top-tier contender, but I have them making the playoffs being led by Defensive Player of the Year candidate Nick Bonito, 2024 Defensive Player of the Year Pat Surtain, and J.K. Dobbins surprisingly has been a great rusher for this team. Not elite, but pretty good. Bo Nix just has to be able to figure it out because this is a league average offense with a top-tier defense that leads the league in sacks and is second in points per game allowed. I have them making the playoffs simply because of how elite their defense is, and the fact that Bo Nix did start off last year slow and picked it up as the year went on. I could see something similar like that happening. My playoff picks 1-4 through the season are in no order: Buffalo, New England, Jacksonville, Indy, Pittsburgh, the Chiefs, and Denver. The other teams are either too injured, not showing enough on one side of the ball, have a hard schedule the rest of the way, or show enough of a combination of these factors to make me believe they will not make the playoffs. The only way I can see this changing is if the Chargers get healthy enough and a team like New England or Indianapolis falls off. The other teams, I would say, are definite locks due to the same reasons some teams are locks to miss. Health, being dominant on at least one side of the ball, and schedule matters a lot in the playoff race. They all have some combination of those factors that really makes them ideal locks to me to make the playoffs. The AFC is as wide open as it will ever be. After being a 3-team race for some years now, it'll be fun to see who can come out of this conference and represent them in the Super Bowl come February.